Hey, Ryan from Mana Bluff here in a Dragon Maze 8-4 draft, opening some pretty awesome pieces right away. We have an Unflinching Courage, Karaz de Gorgon, War Leader's Helix, all amazing uncommons. Not to mention Ready and Willing, which is definitely a fine fuse card. Most of the rare fuse cards are pretty decent in some way or another. This one's cool. It's definitely a great kind of blowout spell if you're in all the colors with the 6 mana. But I just think even Karaz de Gorgon is better than all of them. I think here's to decide, do I do Unflinching Courage or War Leader's Helix? Normally I go with Removal, but Unflinching Courage kind of is just a bomb. Do you know what I mean? Like, if you play your card right, as you should be, and plan it accordingly, I think you get there. And I've just been first picking Unflinching Courage fairly exclusively whenever I see it and doing pretty well. But man, what a packed pack here. Almost everything here is playable. Maybe not Fido Burst and Maze Rusher is kind of lame, but everything else pretty sweet. We're going to go in on the Unflinching Courage plan, see what happens. Remember that we're passing some Boros and we're not planning on seeing a whole lot of it. Minus the fact that I just got War Leader's Helix. If I wanted to stay in on Selesnya, I certainly could, try to just take a Selesnya Guildgate or a Moss Dog here, but War Leader's Helix is amazing, and if you are able to stay in Boros and just splash Unflinching Courage, that's pretty cool too. So easy going to pick this up. A little worried that we passed a Helix already, because I can drop someone into it, and then if someone's dropped in on Boros and we're cut in Gatecrash, that is never sweet. However, either one of these first two picks are splashable, so if we end up seeing that we're going white-red, splashing green, awesome. If we're going green-white, splashing red, pretty awesome as well. Bunch of Clue Stones, Higher Torture we don't care about. Nimic Cyclops I actually like. I love doing the Izzet deck, just you don't get to see it that much. Maw of the Abza is the next best pick here, absolutely an amazing 5-drop. Yeah, the only really clunker is the Feral Animist and Higher Torture. Mermaid Phantasm has a deck, but it's pretty rare. Okay, now we have to start making some decisions. I already have some 3-color happening here. I can take the Mastiff as a solid 2-drop, which is what I'm going to highlight because I think that's pretty important in this format, as is any format 2-map. But I mean, picking up 2-drops in the Dragon's Maze pack is pretty rare. Carnage Gladiator is by far the best card in the pack, but I don't know if I'm willing to get into my 4th color now, especially since I've kind of passed colors I'm already in. Bronzebeak Moa I thought was absolutely insane originally, and then I went down on it a little bit and thought it was pretty lame as a 4-drop 2/2, and then I think I'm kind of in the middle, thinking that it's pretty solid. It tends to be regularly attacking for 5, so it's not insane, it's not horrible. It's just a solid card. But if that's the case and I'm picking a solid card, I'd rather just have Boros Mastiff. And actually, I'm going to pick that here, just being a 2-drop that's rare to get. And again, I think the only color that we're for sure playing is white at this point, so let's stick to that game plan. And then we'll kind of see what the rest is. Ooh, and then we have a Magellan Sphinx. So, despite my best wishes, it kind of looks like I'm going to be moving into a 4th color here. I don't see anything that makes me want to stay on white, red, or white, green. Runner's Bane is a good removal spell. Battering Krasis is a fine 3-drop in green. Magellan Sphinx is just so good. And I could easily see myself moving into that color as needed. So I think really the pick here is between Magellan Sphinx, Battering Krasis, although the Izzet Guildgate is certainly cool, and seeing Blast of Genius and Izzet Guildgate this late means someone's probably not doing the 5-color deck to the next of us, as it were. We're going to take the Sphinx here and hedge our bets. I think Krasis is a more conservative pick, but I'm not looking to go into Selesnya right now. I'm actually hoping more to be Boros with just 1 splash there. Here I think we take Renounce the Guilds at this point. It is a removal spell, super conditional, but I've seen it do some getting against myself and been played with it to where I can normally craft a state to where you can knock out an important multicolored card. If I didn't want to just take the white for sure playable, because we are definitely white, I would take the Wolf Rider over the Gatekeepers at this point. A little bit late on the black coming around, so it's a little bit open, but I'm perfectly fine. There's an argument to take the clue stone now. I think we'll still get a clue stone that we need. And since I'm not too sure what color we are going to go in, red, green, or blue, if not all of them, I'm not really interested in passing up a removal spell for it. Whoa, super late Carnage Gladiator, and Deputy of Crittles, and Viashino First Blade. What are people drafting here? All these cards are sweet. We're not doing the Carnage Gladiator, though, man, I would love to be in a Rakdos deck with these two that passed. 2-drop's important. This is important, especially if I want to be in this aggressive deck with just splashing one of these guys. And here I really need to make my my commitment, and I'm going to start with the Viashino First Blade. I think the person might kind of want to stay out of it. I'm just worried about the War Leader's Helix that we passed. I want to cut this to kind of guarantee that I'm going to be having Boros in the next pack. I'm hoping that by there not being a lot of Boros being seen passed initially, we're not going to be screwed in our Gatecrash pack that's passing it. That being said, now there's Deputy of Quittles. Makes me maybe wish that I had taken the first Deputy of Quittles and just have a nice Azorius deck started with one of these splashes going on. I still think it's the right pick here over the Clue Stones, even though we're starting to go into a 4-color deck. I don't think we're playing all of these gold cards. We're going to end up settling down into one of the different 3-color decks that are here. And we'll take Deputy in the event that we end up going with a blue-white. Yeah, so we're seeing a lot of late blue come around, so maybe Azorius is going to be our main deck, and then we'll end up splashing a Helix or an Unflinching Courage depending upon what fixing we end up getting as the cards move forward. I'm not interested in getting the Gatekeeper over Windrake. Again, if we're going blue over red, or red over blue, that's the decision, and that's not where we're at. Likewise, Species Gorger, I'm not looking to play it necessarily, though we could easily be, white, blue, green? Never know. But I don't think it's necessarily a splash worthy. I'd rather just pick a solid playable and try to get into a 2-color deck at some point. And that's where now we do have a choice about, is it time to get that Clue Stone? We're probably going to want a Clue Stone at some point. Or, again, are we just hedging our bets to be moving into one of these 2-color combinations? I don't really like hedging as much as I'm doing right now, just being base white and then some other color, because in these decks they're so inconsistent about, so I might move into Boros next pack because I'm just getting past a bunch of it and I'm just kind of screwed with the rest. But that being said, I don't really care about the Clue Stone as much, and we'll go ahead and have a 5-drop here. See, look, and now our basic pick here is a Clue Stone. I don't necessarily want a Marine Phantasm. If I end up being Azorius, that's perfectly fine, but I think it's much better just to grab a Clue Stone here. Argument to get the Gruul Clue Stone, since it might just be, being a double splash in something, this will fix both. But I'd rather have one that's on color than not. Really late Nivix Cyclops, by the way. I'm not interested in Mace Sentinel, even though we will be playing that white color. No matter what. Don't need. Not really playable. Don't need. Yeah. I could take the Leave Decree if I end up feeling like I need the last card. Or I can just cut a Clue Stone from somebody. I'm going to cut a Clue Stone. I think for the most part, people do want them, and this is when they're planning on getting them, so I'd rather just make someone else's deck a little inconsistent. Well, we take Populate in the event we do go Selesnya, though that doesn't seem to be happening. I'm just surprised that this guy tabled, so we could be seeing a lot of Selesnya later. Do I care about the counterspell? No, we'll take it. What if we get a sick Populate deck? Ooh, I haven't seen that since Return to Ravnica. And that's why we take Fido Burst. Hidden Strings. For singling purposes, we're cutting the blue. So we're white, and who knows what else. This is not where I want to be at the end of my first pack, but I think this was the right decision. If we start seeing all of the Boros that we want, I'm happy to do that, and Firemane Avenger helps that as well. So that's pretty much going to solidify me wanting to play red. Yeah, I could really get cut in the very near future with against our red. If Boros, if someone moved in with the War Leader's Helix that we passed up from our first pack, that could very easily happen. But I mean, that's the Fire Maid Adventure. It's too good. So we'll go there. And yeah, there's not much else in the pack. Burning Emissary is perfectly great in Gruul. Gift of Orzhova, super powerful. But we're just going to take this, try to move into Boros, and then maybe splash blue or green for our, Unflinching Courage. And I think that's the best game plan. And time will tell if we're going to be cut Boros or not. So here I highlighted Stomping Ground. I think it's between Stomping Ground and Daring Skyjack. Mind you, Ground Assault is by far the best card in the pack. But Stomping Ground, aside from value, which I'm all about, woohoo, and getting some ticks off of it, if we do end up being this Boros deck and splash Unflinching Courage, Stomping Ground is going to be super key. And I am starting to want to pick Fixing over it. Would I pick a Guildgate over the Daring Skyjack here? Probably not, so I have to admit that I'm taking it, for value as well as its ability. But I think this is where I want to go, and we might be able to get some, 2-drops as needed in our last pack anyway from Azorius. And kind of as expected, we're not really seeing a whole lot more from the Boros Guild coming our way. But I still think I want to start moving into red over blue with just maybe a green splash. Because we have the Stomping Ground, Unflinching Courage, super powerful. We already have an Armored Wolfhead, which we can play if we need to. I'm not ignoring the blue. We have a lot of blue cards. It could just be that we're splashing these 2 reds. But the only other pick here is Metropolis Bright, which is not an exciting 2-drop. And I mean, the green ship has definitely sailed, so I'll just take the removal spell over a mediocre 2-drop. I mean, I shouldn't even say mediocre. It's a perfectly awesome 2-drop for what it is. But since we're not sure we're there right now, I'll just take a Massive Raid and be not content, but solidified in that decision. Ooh, foil Martial Glory. There you go. This is getting difficult. If I'm playing blue, I love the Sapphire Drake as our 6. We don't have a 6 yet, and I think I'm getting a little too stuck on my super sweet red splash when you consider the rest of my cards aren't awesome, and we're seeing much more blue, and we're going to get a lot of Azorius next pick. So even though I just picked the Massive Raid over my 2-drop, I think it is time to get out of Boros and jump into Azorius and pray that we just get a bunch of that reroar next pack with a lot of Azorius and a red splash. It means Unflinching Courage is probably not going to get played, and we're going to want to prioritize a gate that plays our splash here. Yeah, because the only other pick is Martial Glory, and that's a little bit weaker. I'm cool with our big old flyer here. Ooh, Prophetic Prism. And an Ember Beast. Prophetic Prism, obviously I like, considering we're just so spread across the board, and that just helps smooth everything out so well. And if we go base blue, and we end up wanting to do kind of a double splash with green and red, Prophetic Prism just helps that so much. Yeah, I'm going to be hedging my bet that we're playing a lot of Azorius. It happens to be my deck of choice. I love blue-white flyers all the way. And with the Prophetic Prism here, I think we're going to be able to get our splash on a little bit more. And taking an Ember Beast, though, is a great 3-drop, but assuming that we're not going to have a very strong guild in our next pack, and because we're not seeing any Boros, I'm happy to go here. Alrighty. So we have Leyline Phantom if I want to stick to the base blue-white plan. The Veteran is a 4-drop, and it's playable if we end up going there. I think they're on the same power level. I think Scorchwalker overall is better, but it gets really bad on the splash. If I was solid red, I'd take Scorchwalker over the Veteran for sure because of its Blood Rush. But it's so hard to actually get that. Yeah, I'm sticking with my blue-white plan and just assuming that that's going to be where we land. And then try to see what else comes from our our fixing standpoint, and then that'll kind of determine where we're at with our different colors here. Probably not playing either of these. Assault Griffin is solid, but I think we just want the removal spell here instead. And it's a pretty good removal spell, especially if we're looking on maybe gumming the ground up a little bit and then just attacking in the air for a wee bit. And yeah, we might even get an Assault Griffin in the very near future passed to us. Whereas Smite, I don't think we're going to see a whole lot of. Hey, another veteran. Tiger's pretty lame. We could take the Scan Club Charger. Again, I'm really trying to move away from red or green. But do I care about a Tiger? No. I mean, again, helps gum up the ground. I'm just worried if I'm going to have playables in my white color. Yeah, greens are our worst splash no matter what right now. But I don't want a Tiger. I just really do not want that. Here's a massive raid that we're not planning on playing. And we already have one, so I need a second. And just trying to get another flyer on board could be pretty sweet. We don't need a bunch of 5-drops. If we're green or blue, we have 2 already. And NASCAR Commandos is blah. We're just going to take this playable for no matter what. And we are now down to the leftovers. Let's take Shadow Slice. It's the most playable. And it can definitely win a race game. So we'll grab that. Same with Furious Resistance. It's technically playable. Tinstream, alright, that's a good sideboard card along the board stalls. We're not looking to do that. We got Evasion is our game plan. So now it just comes down to whether or not we actually get the Azorius that we were planning, and then what kind of fixing we have. I really would love to have, like, Is It Guildgate at some point. And maybe just do Azorius, splash our 2 reds. Prophetic Prism's going to help. If we get miraculously a Selesnya and an Is It Guildgate, we might also play Inflicting Courage, but I'm not planning on it at this point. In having these greens here. But I think that might be what determines where we go. So for now, let's hide our green, assume, and just know that we have Unflinching Courage as a powerful card, and know that this is where we're at. Hey, Skymark Rock. That is absolutely amazing. Void Wielder would love. Phantom General we're not doing a whole lot with. We're not Selesnya. Doorkeeper I'd even take, which we'll probably get one of at some point. Stellar Songbirds I'm hoping to have. Anything that can kind of gum us up here in our 2s and 3s so we can get some of our more powerful flyers out into the air. But yeah, Skymark Rock is by far amazing. Schmick you. Alright, Azorius, let's go. We have Sky Knight, yes please. Locks and Smiter, super awesome. But since we're now no longer doing the green thing as much as possible, I think Sky Knight is honestly about as good as the Smiter. Definitely Smiter more powerful, but with what our deck's trying to do, I'm happy with the Sky Knight. Yeah, for sure. Totes my goats, for sure. Take our Sky Knight there. Interesting. So here's a pick. I think this is what our deck wants. We want to go up the ground somehow. I'm not looking to win by filibuster counters, but as a 5-drop, I really like it. Void Wielder's great, but we might even see a Void Wielder a little bit later. Mostly, the only thing I'd pick over another strong Azorius card would be a Guildgate, because we really want to get an Is It Guildgate so we can splash our super powerful Helix and Firemate Adventure easier. But we'll take the Elocutors here. We do have our Cluestone and our Prophetic Prism, so it's not horrible to be playing if our 2 red spells, if those are the only fixers we get. But it's also not exactly awesome. Alright. Wow. Grove of the Guardian. That's powerful. Oh hey, 2 Call the Conclaves. Soulsworn Spirit is sort of our card here. Do I do this? I think our mana is so stretched now, even though, yeah, it would be so sweet to be able to play a little bit more green. We knew we were going to be seeing Selesnya. We also were hoping to see some Azorius, which we saw. We got our Sky Knight, our Rock, and our Elocutors. So it's there. We'll just take the Soulsworn Spirit, be disciplined, hate the fact that these guys are going, and then just be very scared of anyone who's playing Selesnya, because, wow, awesome cards. Man, I would love this Arrestor, because we do want 2-drops in here, but I think we really want this Guildgate in order to get our splash on, so I'm going to pick it over our Arrestor, and then pray, hope, cross fingers that we have a 2 or a 3 here or there. That's really all I would look for. Maybe take one of the expensive white removal spells over anything else, since we only have a Smite and a Renounce the Guilds plus a splashed War Leader's Helix for removal. Ooh, hello, Griffin. That's exactly what we want. So good, and we're going to be able to get that guy cast pretty reliably. Alright, only 5 more playables needed. Yeah, we're going to be stretching in this game for sure. So, fingers crossed. Okay, this is actually a pick between Dramatic Rescue and Bluster Squall. I think this has a nice close out the game potential, but I think this is going to be more reliably something that a game situation where I'll actually be needing Dramatic Rescue. Yeah, I think it's what we need. Gain life is actually relevant in this format in a weird way. And honestly, the tap target creatures you don't control, I mean, we're so much evasion anyway, we're just winning in the air. Do I have ways to get +1/+1 counters on my dudes? No. Yeah, so I'm just playing my Sapphire Drake as a 4/4 flyer. But hey, that's a pretty good card, even if it's at 6. If there's a way to abuse those +1/+1 counters, that could be pretty cool. But we do not have those ways. I may not even be playing the Sapphire Drake. No, I'm going to need playables. I'm for sure playing that card. I think I'm just taking the Judge's Familiar here. Not that I'm excited for it, but I don't really want an Armory Guard in my 4-drop slot. I have plenty of 4s. Yeah, 2 of them are splashes, but we also have our Gargoyle, Rock, and Soulsworn Spirit. So I think instead I just play the 1-drop and be a little bit aggressive here. Plus, there's such a strong chance that we actually end up picking an Armory Guard. And I'm just not going to be too picky at the moment for these types of things. Hey, Doorkeeper! I'm actually perfectly happy to have a Doorkeeper with needing some 2-drops and playables. Helps us, again, gum up the ground, stay alive a little bit. Though I do miss passing a nice shiny island. Oof. Do I play Aquasteed? I need 2 more cards. Downsize our Aquasteed, I'm thinking, just so that I have cards. I mean, Aquasteed is probably more likely to be played than Downsize, so sadly, it's there. Hey, an Action Injunction. I'm super happy to see that. Do I want Selesnya Sentry, though? It's a 3-drop, and I'm actually pretty low on 3-drops. We might be able to have a random regeneration. We're not playing any sort of green or anything. My creature's already at 15. This is tough. I'm taking an Action Injunction just because it is a better card, and I think we do have enough creatures, but that may not have been correct. I might have just wanted a very bad 3-drop. Just, if you look at my curve, that's something that could actually be needed. Here we're taking the Cravad, because again, we're just so low on playables that I'm taking anything that's in the colors. Courier, same thing we'll take, in case we end up wanting that in our deck. Even our little meowy lifelink cat is going to be cool. Sweet! Let me do some building and then figure out just exactly what our deck's going to. Cool, here's our initial breakdown. We're at 25 cards here with 18 creatures, and there's actually some pretty easy cuts to be made. But this is our Azorius deck with the Splashed Helix and Firemane Avenger. Up here you will see there is an optional green splash as well, though I think Unflinching Courage is pretty much equal to Firemane Avenger in terms of its power level. and we also get the War Leader Helix for the red splash, plus we have this at Gilgate, so green we're not really looking to do at all. If I wanted to be super greedy, we can add the Stomping Ground in, and with the Prophetic Prison it might get Unflinching Courage down, but I think just getting rid of that variance is what we want to do, just minimize it. So here I think we easily take out the Aqua Steed at 4, we don't need another 4-drop, and then we also get rid of one of our 5s, and I actually think it is close between the Leyline Phantom and the Bizarre Kravid, because we don't really have a way to abuse Leyline Phantom in any way, but just having a 5/5, you know, even if it's a mana sink later on where we have to keep dropping it, it just trades with so much, versus a 2/5, which I don't care a whole lot about, which doesn't, you know, kill that many things. So I'm pretty sure this is the deck. There's a couple of weaknesses we're seeing, including our really weak low drops. Judge's Familiar, though we are looking to be flying and stuff, we don't really have any sweet ways to abuse Judge's Familiar, such as a Knightly Valor enchantment of some kind. We're playing a Crossdown Courier, that's never awesome. But when your only other 2-drops is a, you know, a Doorkeeper plus 2 2/2s, basically, you kind of just need a 2-drop. Though this is the first card I'm citing out if I feel like there's a reason to, you know, bring in the Bizarre Kravid at late for some game. I don't see that ever happening, but it's an option. We actually do have some pretty decent spells down here with Smite, Renounce the Guilds, Dramatic Rescue Action Injunction, and then Splashing War Leader's Helix. It's just not particularly impressive. They're just solid. Prophetic Prism is just important to help us get our important, powerful splashes on. It would be something that I would be maybe not playing, this and the Cluestone, if I didn't need playables. Like if I just had stronger 3s and 2-drops, I may not be playing as much of this. But I think it's going to help us. Cluestone is just going to help us get into our 5 and our 6-drop here. Yeah, we're basically just to be evasion here, and hopefully gum the ground up with our Doorkeeper, our Phantom, our Elocutors, things like that, while we smash in the air and do some real damage. So let's add our lands. So just how many mountains do I want with our 2 splash? We already have 1 red source and a Prophetic Prism. Maybe, yeah, I just want 1 more. That gets us 3 red sources for 2 splashes. If I can do an extra mountain, I'll probably get there. And right now we're at 8 and 8 sources for blue and white, not including our Cluestone and Prophetic Prism, which makes actually 10 for each. And I think we're actually pretty safe cutting down a little bit of this as well to add an extra mountain in. Maybe going 7/7. I mean, we do want some heavy white because of our Sunspire Griffin, but I'm really hoping this Prophetic Prism will be smoothing out our different draws here, because I feel much better having 3, 4 red sources for our double red splash. Likewise, maybe I get rid of one of the blue since we have the Cluestone also. And we really only need 1 blue at any time to get our deck humming. And that's 7, that's already 8. That's 8, and that only gives us 7 whites. Yeah, I think actually we're going to go ahead with 8 whites, 7 blue, I mean, and that's not including the Cluestone or the Prophetic Prism, so Prophetic Prism will hopefully smooth out only having 6 blues here. But having this for Sunspire Griffin is going to be really important. And yeah, that basically means we're pretty equal on our different colors here. Yeah, we are more heavy blue. We have way more blue cards than white, clearly, but that Sunspire Griffin we want on turn. So I'm going to hedge the bet that way. And I think that's our final build. Sweet. I like that we have that extra mountain. There's an argument to get rid of it and put the island back in, but our splashes are 4-drops, and they're pretty awesome if we have them on turn 4. So having that extra mountain I think is going to be better than having the extra islands here. Again, it does give us at least 7 just straight away blue sources, plus 8 and 9. If you know, we're a little bit stumbly on our islands, we'll have 2 other sources to get us caught up. Yep. that's the game plan. See ya in round 1.